And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Always Pressing PGA DFS podcast. This week, we'll be previewing the 2024 Rocket Mortgage Classic coming out of Detroit, Michigan. But before we do that, a little housekeeping here. You can find me on Twitter at BDintric, the podcast at Always Press DFS, and my co-host, as always, on Twitter at DFS Golf Gods. Jesse, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm well. How are you?
Doing well. For a Monday, not too bad, actually. So, looking good there. Had a fun little weekend with the little one and a little bit of golf. But how's the golf in your world?
Yeah, it was fun. It's just so hot. It's almost unbearable.
Yeah, it's been tricky, but hey, it could be worse. You could have protesters coming at you on 18. And Ash K said he was felt threatened for his life because he didn't know what was going on. I figured Scotty would have, used a few moves he learned in the clink to slow him down, but apparently not. What were your thoughts on the Travelers? Because at least for once, for an elevated event, yes, Scotty won his 6th time this year, but at least it was close this time. Like there was action involved here.
Yeah, it was a really, really good tournament. Obviously, from the finish perspective, what a weird year it's just been on the PGA. I feel like we say that every year. I guess it's just because there's just so many storylines all the time that it's one of those things where it feels like this year is just weirder than the last. But I don't know. I feel like we've had a lot of weird years here recently. But yeah, I mean, Scotty Scheffler is what he is, man. I kind of felt that coming on whenever he was within a few shots there going into Sunday that possibility was going to happen. Of course, getting into a playoff was fun to watch, and yeah, the finish as far as protesters on the green, I've never seen that in golf. So they had to move the hole, which is weird. But I mean, what do you say? Scotty Scheffler is just what he is, man.
Yep, Scotty's a beast. It's almost got to the point where I laugh because in one and done, if you didn't use Scotty on a week that he won, I feel for you because he's been all like elevated events and majors. So
Right.
he's like winning all the money.
Right.
And it's made it tough to when you think you're in good standings and you've already used Scotty for a win, and now he goes and wins again. It just makes things very complicated when it comes to one and dones. And then in DFS, it's almost got to the point where like, can we just take him out of the pool? Just take him out of the pool at this point because I was dominating, or not talking. I was doing very well through the first 2 days. I had one Scotty out of my 3, so I was doing very well with the other 2. And then Scotty showed up, and yeah, we know how the rest of that story goes because he's chalking for a good reason, like we talk about it all the time. But it's got to the point where you almost have to play all Scotty or no Scotty and cross your fingers.
Yeah, I mean his ownership wasn't as high as it's been though. With roughly 30%. I was in a $33 single entry, and he was 22% owned. And I mean, Brian Harmon was 28% owned in that. So
true.
I was kind of confused as to why he wasn't 50% owned again like he was the week before. I guess, obviously he burned a lot of people at the U.S. Open, but this is not the U.S. Open. This is where he makes a lot of money, is on these resort type, just go low golf courses. And obviously that's what he did again.
Yep, he just dominated once again. He said he's taking the next 3 weeks off, though. He'll see us at the Open. He basically lined out his schedule. He's going to hit all the big stuff, the Open, then the playoffs, and then he goes, "I think I'll be on the the President's Cup team." Like, yeah, I think he will be too, unless you don't want to be on it. Is what it comes down to, Scotty. Hate to break it to you,
yeah,
but yeah, I actually kind of looking forward to a few weeks with, and I love Scotty, so it's not a slight on Scotty, but it's great to watch how awesome he is, but at the same time, like I tweeted it yesterday. I was watching the front 9. He took the lead going to 10. I'm like, I had to leave anyways. I'm like, well, you guys can turn it off because you already know how this story's going to end. You guys let him back into the race. Like it's tough to fend that off.
Yes, he is the best golfer we've seen since Tiger Woods.
Yeah, they showed a stat that there's like 4 golfers that have ever won 6 times in 1 year. Tiger's done it like 6 times or whatever. It's like VJ, Scotty, and one other guy. It's not Jack or anything like that. Somebody else. Scotty's the only one to do it 6 times since the Arnold Palmer. Like that's insane how good he's been.
Since 1968 or something like that. Yeah, it's crazy.
And I have a hunch he'll win at least one more time this year. It just feels that way. It's like unstoppable.
Well. Yeah.
All right, but this week we have no Scotty. We don't have a lot of top golfers in the world because they're either on the other elevated tour last week in Nashville, which Tyrell Hatton things, which was fun. I'll leave it at that. We're going to Detroit Country Club. I see Jesse's face on camera. what do you got for us for past event history for the Rocket Mortgage, which we've had some fun events here, but just not the big boys.
Yeah. So last year, Ricky Fowler, 24 under in a playoff over Adam Hadwin and Colin Morikawa. 2022 was Tony Finau. He won 26 under, 5 shots over Patrick Cantlay, Taylor Pendrith, Cam Young. 2021 was Cam Davis, 18 under in a playoff over Troy Merritt and Joaquin Neiman. 2020 was Bryson DeChambeau, 23 under, 3 shots over Matt Wolff. 2019 was Nate Lashley, 25 under, 6 shots over Doc Redman.
That Wolf Bryson one was pretty sweet with that par 5, the whole eagle situation and stuff. That was it's a fun course. It's a fun course, and maybe we'll get some of these new young names to show up and kind of show out for us because, like I said, big dogs ain't coming really. But when we're talking about the Rocket Mortgage Classic, we're talking about Detroit Golf Club, Donald Ross Golf Course. There's 2 courses that make up these 18 holes. Most of them are on the north course, and then you have 1 hole on the south. So 17 holes on the north, the 3rd hole on the south. That makes up your 18-hole golf course here in Detroit. It's a par 72, 7,370 yards. So in recent weeks for a par 72, that's a short golf course. And we'll get to that because it's a tree-lined course, water only on 1 hole on 14. The greens are very gettable. They water them a lot. They're soft. They do have runoffs, though. And they're the typical Donald Rosses where you want to be below the hole to give your chance at birdies because you ain't going to probably make much from up top type thing, which kind of made, if I remember, it was either Bryson or Wolf was up top on 18, making it more remarkable that thing fell. But it's your typical course. But the biggest thing is it's a bomb it and wedge it and luck box putting golf course because, like I said, 1 hole has water. Everything else, pretty wide fairways. The rough is not penal. Most shots are within 75 to 125-ish, give or take. So a lot of wedges coming in. You can even say 75 to 150. You want to be more accurate. There's 4 par 5s. 5 of them are like 570 or less. So 3 of them, sorry. 3 of them are 570 or less. So 3 of them are very, very gettable, which is awesome as well. So you're going to see a lot of birdies here. They want it to be a birdie fest. That's why they say they water the greens. And you're going to see a lot of just bomb it, wedge it, get hot putter. So what do you have this week?
Yeah, driving distance matters, greens and regulation, just like every week. Birdie or better percentage, I mean, just your typical PGA Tour week-to-week stats. Par 5 scoring, I've got that way, and of course, course history.
Yep, that makes a ton of sense. We have some good course history, like you mentioned. So a lot of these guys are either sponsors of Rocket Mortgage or they're just in that tier below the big guys. So they show up here a lot to get ready to qualify for other golf tournaments. So with that being said, let's talk DK scoring this week. And we do have a 5K range this week, which kind of surprised me when I started scrolling through the player pool, considering the highest price guy is 11K, but I digress. 4 guys at 10K or above. Tom Kim at 11,000, runner-up last week. He's played well here. Cam Young, 10-7, who had one of the craziest 25-hole stretches you'll ever see in golf and then went away. Minwoo Lee at 10-5, and Alex Noren at 10-2, who I could see everyone going, how can I pay 10-2 for Alex Noren? I get it, but remember the field we're in, and we'll go from there. So what do you like in this 10K and above range?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Tom Kim coming off the second place finish last week. We talked about him getting better, and obviously that's been the case with the second place finish. So he's most definitely playable. Cam Young, it's hard to stomach him at 10-2. I know, or 10-7. I know he finished second here in 2022, come off that 9th place finish last week, but I mean, hasn't done a whole hell of a lot. And he's never won on tour, right?
No, he's not. He's still waiting for that first. Everyone was saying this would be it when he had that stretch I was talking about. And I'm like, you have not watched Cam Young play 72 holes, have you?
Yeah.
I guess happened. The talent's awesome. The talent's awesome. It's just putting it together.
And this is the golf course you would think he would win at, too.
Bingo. It's like a Matt Wolff type setup for him.
Yeah. I mean, if it's going to happen, you'd think it would be this week. But just paying up for him. I don't know if I'll pay up for any of these guys this week. But and then Alex Noren, man. I mean, 10-2, I know that's a lot for Alex Noren. And he's coming off a missed cut, the U.S. Open, 22nd Memorial missed cut, Canadian Open. But 2 top 10s in the last 2 appearances here, 9th and 4th in his last 2 starts at this event. So I think he's playable. Tom Kim is the guy. Like, if I probably try to jam somebody in, that's who I'm going to try to jam in, is Tom Kim.
Tom Kim would be the guy to try to jam in. I'm with you. But the other part, like you said, it just feels like this is the perfect golf course for Cam Young if he's ever going to figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, like last 24 rounds, 7th in driving distance. If we're talking wedges from 1 to 125, he's first in this field. Now, a lot of the par fours are 450 or less. Shorter par fours, he struggles at for some weird reason. Has trouble finding the fairways. Again, don't matter. The big thing is the putter's been he's 101 in the field. Like that's horrible stuff. So it seems like the perfect storm. I'm with you. It's just, will it be the perfect storm? I love Noren because I don't think many will pay that price. Kim's the guy. I will make an argument for Minwoo Lee, and I know the results might not be there for Minwoo Lee of late, but 21st at the U.S. Open, 24th at Schwab, 26th at PGA. Yes, you want much better at this price tag. He's never played here. There's a dude, though, that's won on the Euro Tour. This is a guy that can pipe it, second in driving distance. His wedge game's pretty good, not great, though, so that might be his bugaboo. He can putt like mediocre, average to the field. His par 5 scoring's better than average in the field. It just seems like if you want to be super contrarian up here, Minwoo Lee's the play. Like I think he kind of gets overlooked but I don't know. It's Tom Kim. Like I just tried to make up an argument to make one up. It's Tom Kim if you want to go up here. But to one thing he said, this feels like a week I might try to avoid this range because the bottom of this player pool is so bad that I might want to be stuck in the 8s and 9s as much as possible.
That's right.
Let's talk about 9K. A guy I thought would be in the 10K range in Ashke Bhatia at $9,800 after his great finish last week. Got Pendrith at 96, Jaeger at 94, Willie Z at 92, Fowler at 9,000. Before I just looked at the pricing. There was 2 guys here I wanted to lock Button in, or at least have like 50-50 of before I even looked at course history, and that even checked out. So it made a ton of sense, but I'll let you have the floor first.
Yeah, I mean, the top 3 there, Bhatia and Pendrith and Jaeger are guys that definitely are playable. You know, Pendrith has a course history 14th and 2nd in his last 2 appearances at this event. 4 straight made cuts for him on tour, all inside the top 40. So most definitely playable. Actually, he's never played here, or he did play here once last year, missed the cut. Come off a 5th place finish last week. He's been playing really well the last 2 weeks. 16th at the U.S. Open, 5th last week. And then Jaeger at 94, 9th and 5th in his last 2 starts at this event. 2 out of 3 made cuts. His only missed cut was in 2019, and his back-to-back top 30s for him basically on tour. So yeah, I mean that's where really I don't know why we're not clicking on Will Zalatoris and Ricky Fowler. It's just I don't know, man. I mean, like Will got out to such a good start and flashed some really good form there, 64 on Sunday or on Thursday last week, but then just couldn't make enough. Basically, couldn't hit enough greens. And then Ricky, man, I mean, obviously one here was kind of flash in the pan last year, in my opinion, because ever since then, I mean, he's not really even had a top 10 this year. So it's hard to pay that much for him. For guys, hasn't finished at the top 10 all year long.
And it was funny. He started out great on Thursday. I'm like, oh, here we go, just in time for Rocket Mortgage. And then he kind of disappeared again. So
all right,
I'm with you. All right. So for me in this range, like I said, I looked at it, Pendrith and Jaeger were like, this is what I want. Guys that can bomb the ball. There's no repercussions.
Right.
Like this is what I'm looking for. Pendrith actually has that dub earlier this year, which was very strong for Pendrith. I'm trying to pull. I don't go that far back. I can't remember. It was in Texas, I'm pretty sure. But
he won the Byron Nelson.
There's Byron Nelson. I took down Ben Griffin, I believe. But yeah, 4 straight really good starts there. But I like Pendrith. I like Jaeger for those reasons. You mentioned the course history, just topped it off for me on that one. Ashke is definitely there, 5th, 16th, 22nd the last 3 weeks. Tougher courses in the Open and the Memorial, obviously. You mentioned the miscut here, so I could see some trepidation if you want, but I thought he'd be in the 10K range, so that checks out for me. Like you said, Willie Z and Ricky Fowler, no one's really picking them, at least when we talk. I'm probably out on them just because it looks sketchy. Could they figure it out? Especially Willie Z, if there's no penalty for missing, that could be a plus because when you look at Willie Z, like he's 138th in my model. It's a lot of 100 pluses in rankings in this field. It's not even driving distance is 63rd. It's been bad for Willie Z. So if he beats me, he beats me. I'd stick to the top 3 in this range. 8K range for you. Got Matt McNeely at 89, Aaron Rye at 88, Bobby Mack at 87, Keith Mitchell at 85, Davis Thompson at 83, Ryan Fox at 82, Chris Kirk at 81, and Michael Thorbenson at 8,000. Who do you like in this range?
I'll start with Mav. I mean, I opened up Twitter this morning, and the first couple things I see are people betting Mav. So like it was like, oh, just automatic bet Mav at whatever number they got him at. He's been bet down to like 30, I think. Yeah, 30 right now. 20 miscut in 2022, 21st year in 2021, 2020 finished 8th. So I mean, obviously that one 8th place finish, but missed the cut his last start here. But I mean, like he hasn't missed a cut on tour since the American Express in January. Couple top 10 sprinkled in there. So I understand why people like him a lot. I actually really like Aaron Rye this week. 9th here last year, coming off 2 straight top 20s, including the U.S. Open where he finished 19th, finished 4th at the Byron Nelson earlier this year. So he's been there, and my model likes him quite a bit. Keith Mitchell at 8,500. He missed the cut in his only start here, but coming off a 10th place finish his last start at the Canadian Open. Davis Thompson is 2 out of 2 made cuts here, 24th last year, 58th in 2021, and 9th place finish at the U.S. Open. And then Ryan Fox at 8,200. He's never played here, but has made 5 straight cuts on tour, finished 4th at the Myrtle Beach Classic, which was like a similar type of field to this, probably a little bit weaker, but 7th the Canadian Open, which is a similar type of field to this. So he's been playing very well in these kind of non-superstar type of events on tour.
Yep. No, it's a fun range. I'm with you on Mav. Like I just kind of have a blinder up because he just plays so inconsistently for me. But this is why I love models, because at least opens my mind to them. McNeely's 4th in my player pool, which is pretty impressive just thinking back. And you mentioned the trends, the history here. Didn't play last year, missed cut in the 21st and 8th. So like you said, played well here. And the form coming in, he hasn't played in a few weeks because he probably hasn't qualified for any of those events. That's not his fault. But 7th at Canadian, 17th at Schwab, 23rd at PGA. Like, you playing that well, and somehow he's not in an elevated field. Like, I know the stupid rules in it, but I playing that good at golf. Like, you figure if Webb Simpson can move his sorry ass out of the way, you get McNeely in the field or something. That'd make it an elevated event, but I digress on that one. But McNeely, I like him as well, but it sounds like he's going to be popular. Aaron Rice, 5th in my model. He's 1st in par 5 scoring over the last 24 rounds in this field, 1st in good drives as well. So he's going to give himself plenty of chances. His wedge game, he's pretty tight there too. So I do like the Rye call at 8,800. I want to write off Bobby Mack, but the dude just keeps playing well. Where did I have him? Sorry, like he missed the cut at the U.S. Open after winning the Canadian. He was 8th of the PGA Championship, missed the Schwab, but 16th last year last week at the Travelers. It just kind of gives me a thought like, hey, maybe this is worth the look. He's never played her before. He hits it farther than most think, which is always good. He putts phenomenally if it's a good, and he plays par 5s really well. So I think Bobby Mack at 87 is interesting. Killer Keith is number 1 on my model.
Oh, God.
Yeah, because over the last 24 rounds, he's 2nd off the tee. He's 3rd in approach. He's 7th in birdie or betters. He's 2nd in opportunities gained if you want to do a different angle. He's 3rd in driving distance, 12th in par 5 scoring. Like, the only thing he doesn't rate out good on what I'm looking at is putting and the short par 4s. Everything else, he's like top 20 in this field. Rates out really, really well. And I'm with you because I was like, what? Like pretty much what you did. And so I started like looking back and, 10th at the Canadian Open, 37th at Schwab. Yeah, like the form is there. It's just, you look at course history. He hasn't played since 2019. He missed a cut. So it's like, which guy are we getting is the $1 million question. But skill's pretty legit. So keep an eye on that. I have Davis Thompson as well, 22nd my model, like him. And then Chris Kirk at $8,100. Like, he 64th my model isn't great, but if we're going to go with the course history approach to things, 14th, 17th, 12th, 21st in the last 4 rounds. There's just dudes like him. You had one at certain courses. They just play well at certain golf courses because what Kirk can do, find fairways, wedge, short iron in, and putt. Like, that's what he'll do to just hang around and lose by like 6 strokes. So that sounds like the Chris Kirk formula, which probably will work this week. 7K range, we have Ben Griffin, EVR, Mark Hubbard, Svensson, Taylor Moore, Patrick Rogers, Matt Wallace, Nick Dunlap, Nikolai Hogard, Bo Hosser, Cam Davis, Sam Stevens, Lee Hodges, Kevin Yu, Berger, and Luke Clanton. Oh, and Eric Cole. Sorry to interrupt that one. Who do you like in the 7K range?
Yeah, I think there's definitely some playable dudes down here. Svensson at 76. Made his last 2 cuts at this event, 40th and 24th. He did miss the cut in 2019. Come off a 16th place finish. Has not missed a cut since the Players in mid-March. Taylor Moore, 4th and 6th in his 2 starts at this event the last 2 years. 68th at Travelers, had 3 straight missed cuts before that, but was playing some really solid golf up until basically the Charles Schwab. So I like going back to him at this event. Matt Wallace, 7,400, 3 out of 3 made cuts here. His best finish was in 2022. He finished 10th, and he's coming off a 15th place finish over on the DP World Tour, and has made 4 straight cuts on the PGA Tour. Højgaard, dude, bombs it. 21st here last year. Back-to-back made cuts for him, including the U.S. Open 50th, Canadian Open 35th. So I think he is playable. Cam Davis, I'm surprised he's this low.
Yes.
The only thing I can figure, obviously, is just the form. He's a past champion here in 2021. He's made the last 2 cuts after that too, 14th and 17th the last 2 years. He's not had a great year, but at $7,200, I mean, like, why would you not throw him in your pool, especially if you're playing 150 or 20 lineups? I think I would have at least 5 or 10% Cam Davis. Does look like his projected ownership is a little bit higher than a lot of guys in this range. But and then 7,100, Kevin Yu missed the cut here last year. 3 straight cuts from him made on tour. And there have been the kind of smaller, not as exciting fields like the Canadian Open, Charles Schwab, Myrtle Beach. So playing pretty decent golf at 7,100 there.
Yeah, this is a fun range, and the idea would be to wrap up your picks in this range if you could. Ben Griffin at 79. I saw somewhere he had like retina surgery over the weekend. I don't know how that, or last week or something. So keep an eye on that. But he did play at the Travelers, so things must not be horrible. He didn't finish well, but things must not be horrible. He's 9th in my model, playing good golf. So I don't mind him. Runner up at the Byron Nelson, like we talked about earlier. So Griffin's interesting. Mark Hubbard is the curious case, like just curiosity to me. $7,700, 71st my model. I get those don't look great. It gets probably worse here. Just give me a second. Recent results: 50th at the U.S. Open, 42nd at Canadian, 65th, 26th. Nothing crazy there. When you look at, he's missed 3 straight cuts here, but then a T12 in 2020. The reason why I just always have a soft spot for Hubbard in events like this, when the field is less and it's a birdie fest, he goes for it. That's like just what he does. Does it always work? No. Obviously, weather results. But there's been many events we've seen him up there, many events it has not. So in a tournament, Hubbard is intriguing to me. Do not lock him in, but I just wanted to highlight Mark Hubbard because he doesn't rank out well, but maybe there's something to it. Maybe I'm just an idiot. But we have all that going for us.
Hasn't missed a cut since the fall.
So there's another one. There's another thing. Might not be finishing high, but making cuts. That's good.
Yep.
So he's interesting. Taylor Moore at 75. He mentioned the course history is phenomenal, and he's another guy kind of like Hubbard. We see him at the top. We see him missing. Like that's what a lot of the bottom of the field is going to be. Shocker to the people here. That's why they're here. But Taylor Moore's got that upside. Matt Wallace as well. He won in like Punta Cana or one of those Mexico tournaments earlier this year. He's played well here in the past. I was shocked by Cam Davis's price because I'll play him for sure. We always talk about Cam Davis is his biggest flaw is finding fairways. Well, not a big deal here compared to other places because his wedge game strong, his par 5 game strong. He can bomb the ball. There's a lot of like with Cam Davis. One reason why I was doing so well after Friday is I had Cam Davis who shot 5 under on Thursday and then went backwards the rest of the week. So that stung. I was like, oh, I got something here because he loves Pete Dye courses. Just didn't like him for 4 days. So I think Cam Davis is fun. I'm with you though. The same thing. How is Nikolai Højgaard $7,300? This was like he was a Ryder Cup dude. He's the next big thing coming out of Europe besides like Bobby Mack. Essentially, you mentioned he bombs the ball 17 in the field and driving distance. He's 14th on the short par 4s. Surprisingly, doesn't play par 5s well, but again, his numbers are probably skewed because playing Europe, playing other stuff. But still 40th in my model, even with stuff being skewed. At $7,300, it seems like the perfect storm. Bomb it and wedge it and see what happens with Nikolai. So that was a shocking price to me as well. Don't mind Kevin Yu again, another bomber. Like when I get cheap, I want guys that can just go for it. Then they're birdie seeking basically. So Kevin Yu's there. I wanted to ask you because it's the guy we usually talk about, but like I literally went back and forth on this a few times before the show. Where are we at on Daniel Berger? Berger finished 21st at the U.S. Open, missed cut of the Canadian, 45th at the Charles Schwab. When we look at past history here, he hasn't played here at least since 2019. We've seen flashes in tournaments of good, and then it's like he hasn't put a full 4 rounds together. But he's $7,000. Jesse, any thoughts on Daniel Berger?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's probably worth a shot, worth rostering a couple times, especially if you're playing a bunch of lineups because the upside is there. I don't know. Like, it wasn't on my radar because the model's not high on him, and his putter's been terrible. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
he's
It's
150th
in a putting contest. You need the putter.
Yeah, 150th in this field out of 160. What, 5 or so, whatever it is.
152.
Not good.
Right?
Sorry. Oh yeah. So Kevin Yu's dead last. Daniel Berger's third to last. So in this field in putting. So just because they're right next to each other, I looked up. Oh, that's Kevin Yu. But yeah, at least Kevin Yu is 8th in driving distance. Berger's 103. So it's a little different there. All right, 6K range, Jesse. Who you like here? Because there actually are guys I don't mind here. I just would rather not be in this range.
Yeah, there's definitely some names. I mean, like Luke List, but Toasty at 6,600, never played here, but 3 straight make cuts from him, coming off a 17th place finish his last start, which was the Charles Schwab almost a month ago. Jake Knapp at 6,400. I mean, obviously he has a win this year, and absolutely murders the ball. He's not been great, I don't think, on approaches more recently. But still, I mean, the upside is there on him. So at 6,400, I think he's worth a stab. Neil Shipley at 6,300. He, finished 26th at the U.S. Open, made the cut at the Masters. He's this amateur out of Ohio State. So, the potential is there for him as well. I think he hits it pretty. He's a pretty big dude. Yeah, he was averaging 316 off a tee at the U.S. Open, 304 off the tee at the Masters. So yeah, I mean, like, you just never know when it could be like another Jake Knapp type situation, or the other dude, Nick Dunlap, who just won as an AM and then turned pro immediately. So Neil Shipley at 6,300 be the, and then Bud Cauley at 6,000. Yes. Almost forgot Bud. Made the only cut here in 2019. He finished 59th. Back-to-back miscuts for him, but if you're down here at 6,000, he's the guy that I would pick.
Yeah, I'll just fly through. Like, I have a handful checked off, but it's purely tournament players. Like Doug Gim down here always has my attention. 21st in my model. He's a guy that has really, really good wedge game. If you can just get it in range or in business. Davis Riley at 68. He's 13th in my model, 3rd in par 5 scoring, 8th in birdie or better. And when you look at past events, Riley's coming in some decent form right now. 48th miscut, won the Charles Schwab. So he's 2 out of the last 3 events is what you're looking for down here. And 33rd here last year. So Davis Riley would be another one. I'm always a Shank guy down here at 68. He's been on the struggle bus of late, but I think there's still a lot of really good golf in there somewhere. Chandler Phillips. And now we're getting kind of how you were talking to these amateur guys. Chandler Phillips, $6,700. This one, he's 11th in my model. He's only, and I actually have 24 rounds of data on him. He finished 10th at the Canadian Open, 12th at the Charles Schwab. Has not paid the last 3 weeks for obvious reasons. He missed the cut here back in 2020. He's one of the young players that really intrigues me. He's 6th in opportunities gained. Wedge plays pretty good, especially from 125 to 150. So he's 11th overall in approach. So Chandler Phillips at 67 would be a dude. Justin Lauer at 65 has played well here. Matty Schmid's always got a soft spot as he can. Boomer, he's kind of like Mark Hubbard, but cheaper is the way I'll describe Matty Schmid. So just remember that. I have Nate Lashley. I had Jake Knapp down here as well. I love the Knapp call. And then Neil Shipley's fun. I had him checked off also. He only has 8 rounds in here in the database because it's just the 2 majors, but it still ranks on 54th. He's actually 21st in birdie or better, 36 from 1 to 120. And these are tough golf courses. He puts in this field 32nd in putting. He was the U.S. Open on the PGA. US Open the Masters.
Yeah,
that ain't easy, folks.
No.
Troy Merritt at 63, phenomenal course history. Overall, not great. So keep that in mind. Charlie Hoffman's 12th in this field. He's been a guy we've seen show up and disappear at times, but for 62, you don't hate like miscut of the Canadian, 50th at Charles Schwab. He played good in the early part of the Texas swing. And then the one that really made me go, huh? Like Bud Cauley, I have he's 8th in my model, actually. That was funny. There's one that's even funnier, though, Jesse. Joel Dahman is 3rd in my model. So either my model's broken or what, but Joel Dahman was 3rd in my model. He's missed the last 2 cuts here were 21st and 2021, so he's got that going for him. The other thing, though, 10th at the Canadian Open, 56th at Schwab. And what I'm looking at is he's like 2nd in the field in approach. He's 7th from 1 to 1. His approach game is phenomenal. From 1 to 175, he's 7th. From 75 to 100, he's 1st. He's 1st in the field in opportunities gained over the last 24 rounds. He's 3rd in good drive, so he'll be in the fairway. It's a shorter golf course. Like Joel Dahman at 61, I will get suckered into using a little bit of him for sure. 5K range, what do you like down here, if anything at all?
Yeah, I got Lonto Griffin at 56.
That's a good call.
You know,
Yeah, I like
miscut 25th, 21st in his last 3 starts here, and has actually made back-to-back cuts on tour. Carl Yawn, 14th here last year. He withdrew from the Canadian and missed the cut at the Charles Schwab. So, I mean, it's just boom or bust there. But Vincent Norman at 55, 24th here last year, and 3 straight made cuts for him. One of those was on the DP World Tour, 43rd at the Scandinavian Mixed, whatever the fuck that means. And then 2 made cuts on tour, Canadian, Charles Schwab, 65th, 70th, not great. I mean, the finishes aren't great this year, but I mean, if you're down here diving around these parts, that's who I would choose.
Yep. I like Lanto and Norman. I had Kelly Craft. He's 6th in my model, and again, my model feels weird, but it's a heavy approach model, so it kind of checks out when I look at a few things. But like Craft, 42nd at the Canadian Open. That's the only thing he's played that I have data on. He's probably played Corn Ferry or something.
Myrtle Beach, CJ Cup.
I don't have.
Yeah, I mean, it's not terrible finishes. He missed the cut at the Myrtle Beach. 13th at the Byron Nelson, which is the CJ Cup. Missed cut to Puerto Rico, and then hadn't played before the Puerto Rico Open.
No, 40th last year here. So if you're going, I like Lanto and Norman more. The one that's super cheap if you want to go full punt is Callum Tarrant. If you want course history, 29th and 20th the last 2 years here. I'll take that right now at $5,300 if you sign me up for it. Miscut at the Canadian, 70th at Charles Schwab. It's not the best form, but plays really well at this golf course if you want to go there. Ideally, I'd stay out of here, or I like Jesse's picks better in this 5K range, to be totally honest. All right, let's recap things real quick. Jesse, 10K and above, where are you going?
Tom Kim.
Tom Kim, yes, that is the correct answer. 9K range.
I'll say Pendrith.
I'll say Jaeger then, but those I'm going to make at least one lineup with both those guys for sure. 8K range.
Aaron Rye.
You like Aaron Rye? I will go Matt McNeely and all the. No, I'll take the number one guy on my model. Give me Keith Mitchell. I'll stand by that one. 7K range.
Taylor Moore.
I will go with between Hogard and Davis. I'll go Hogard.
I like it.
Better consistency, at least it feels like. Could be wrong. 6K range.
I'll say Toasty at 66.
That's one I forgot to mention. I love Toasty. The first thing I saw an interview because his personality is just electric. He loves to bomb the shit out of the golf ball and not care about anything else. So it's kind of perfect for this place. I can't remember which, a blogger actually, or an article, or a reporter actually did reporting this morning. They asked him when they saw him, what do you think of the golf course when he came off? He says, birdies, birdies, and more birdies. I'm like, perfect. He's ready to roll. Let's go. So Toasty at 66 is awesome. If I got to go elsewhere, I really do like that Jake Knapp call. It's like the perfect storm for his game. It easily can miss the cut. We know this, but bomb it and go. Get at it. 5K range.
I believe it was Lonto Griffin.
Those are the two you want, Lonto and Norman. We're just going to stop there. I'm not going to give you one of mine. Just have fun with that.
Yep.
All right. If you're playing cash this week, where would you start out? Because technically you can do cash this week.
I think cash is playable. I got Mav McNeely, Aaron Ryan, Taylor Moore.
That's a phenomenal start. To make it a little different, I'll go Mav, Aaron Rye, and I've tried to make it different. I'll go Svensson. It doesn't feel great, but McNeely and Rye for sure. Tournament play, where are you going?
Tom Kim, Aaron Rye, and Toasty.
Give me Pendrith, Jaeger, and I'll take Toasty as well. Like I forgot to mention him. I had him checked off since this morning when I saw he was in the field for this golf tournament, like literally at $6,600. I will take the miscut if it doesn't have, because the fireworks will be amazing. All right, the moment of truth. Who do you like to win this thing, at least odds wise?
Yeah, let's just talk about how ridiculous it is that Tom Kim is 12-1.
Tells you everything you need to know, actually.
But it's just so fucking annoying that these books do this now, because he should not be. It should be 20-1 or more. I know it's like he's the favorite, but the favorite shouldn't be 12-1.
No, they can move him back. It's okay.
So anyways, with that being said, I bet Tom Kim plus little parlay Tennessee to win the College World Series minus like 220. So it got it up to like almost 18-1. Felt better about that than 12-1. And then I also bet Aaron Rye at 30-1. top 20 wise, and I'd say you'll probably like these as well. I got Toasty at 4-1 and Jake Knapp at 4-1.
That's outstanding.
Yeah.
Basically 400 to ones. If you're looking at DK, you're doing FanDuel. Those are awesome. Like this is the kind of event where you can get wild. So like I'm starting at like 300 back. Cam Davis is technically plus 300. Hubbard's 300 too. I don't know if I want to bet those guys. They're more tournament plays for me. But some deeper guys. You mentioned Toasty and like Naps down here, like you said, 4-1. Toasty's 4-1. Let's see if
Hoygaard at 275.
That's what I was looking at. Hogard, Cam Davis is 300. Taylor Moore at 220. I like. I think that's if you want to go cheaper than that. I think that 220 is a fun one. So plus 200 plus. That's 4 of them for you right there. If I have to give you one more, let's go. I was debating. Yeah, let's do it. No, not Doug. You see Luke List was on the Euro Tour last week and making birdies?
No, I did not.
I saw a clip on that on the Golf Channel. I had to double take real quick. But where is he? Let me do a search and see. Joel Dahlman is plus 500, 5-1 to top 20. If he's third in my model, let's see what happens.
We'll bet it.
Where's the other one?
I got a bunch of money to burn after last week, so hell with it.
Oh, you did good. Look at that. Yeah. That's a little braggery right there. Who did you parlay Scott Scheffler with?
I did not bet. I did not hit a bet. I just my lineup on DraftKings. I turned 33 into 300. So.
Oh well, hey, winning.
Yeah, I won Junkies League. I can't believe you didn't congratulate me.
Oh, sorry, I didn't pay attention to that. I apologize. I was still looking at number 1 in the overall. I forgot who else was there.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm still in it. I mean, I'm still trying. So
they're coming at me quick though. That league keeps shrinking each week, so we'll see what happens. And we still have like 10 more events to go, so there's a lot that can go horribly wrong by the time this finishes. I could crash and burn real quick on this one, so we'll see where it goes. But final thoughts for Detroit.
I don't, man. I mean, this is going to be a rough stretch of golf for us over the next few weeks. We do have the
Scottish Open.
Open eventually, but that's like 3 weeks away.
Because it's 3M. It's 3M next week, right?
I think. I don't. Let me see.
Yeah, I think Scottish is only.
No. Rocket Mortgage, John Deere.
That's what it was. Then the 3M.
No. Wow. Then the Scottish, which also has the ISCO Championship as the opposite field event, formerly known as the Barbasol
Open.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
So that's going to be an interesting stretch of golf coming our way. Fun times. Yeah.
At least we get the I think the Olympics will be fun.
I'm looking forward
in early August. Obviously, the Open Championship. Looking forward to that, but yeah, I mean we're really kind of getting down to the end of the season. It's crazy.
At the end of the new season before we start talking about the fall swing that technically doesn't exist. So that'll be a ton of fun as usual. But before that all happens, we have the Rocket Mortgage this week, folks. So I hope you guys enjoyed the show. It helped you out. And if you have any questions, go check out Jesse on Twitter at DFS Golf Gods. I'm at BD Entrick, and this was the Always Pressing PGA DFS podcast. Catch you all next time.